All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Dave from Chase the Summit, and this is my wife, Jen. She's joining us today. This is the Trail Talk podcast, and Jen and I just recorded a solid 1 minute of podcast without hitting the record button, which is why we're laughing about it.
It wasn't a very good minute,
yes.
So it didn't matter.
True. Welcome back to the podcast. It's been a minute since I've posted or published a podcast, and I apologize for that. There's been a lot of distractions around here. I bought a new lawnmower. That's been a distraction. I won't even talk about it here, but I really want to talk about it here. And then there's been a lot of stuff going on the main channel with new product releases and testing and writing, and it's been a lot. So I apologize for the lack of podcast, but we're here today and we're going to make up for it. In this episode 52, You've
done 52 podcasts?
52 podcasts.
Really?
Yeah, you were here for episode 50.
Really?
Yeah. You probably haven't heard them all.
No. Are they all like on your, like when I go on Spotify and I put this 52?
52? Well, counting this one, 51, not counting this one. And that includes all the live streams and stuff from YouTube. So those all add up. But today we've got some topics of conversation. I want to talk a bit about the 50K that Jen and I ran a week and a half ago now, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, we ran a 50K. A little bit of drama near the end of it, but we're all okay now. Not in a bad way. And I also want to talk about the fitness tech news, and Jen can chime in on all the things going on there. And then we'll take some listener Q&A at the end that I collected a while ago. So finally getting around to that. Before we dive in, I do want to give a huge thank you and shout out to the Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you so much for the continued support. And if you're interested in checking out Patreon, head over to the link at the bottom of the show notes. It's just it's a nice way of contributing if you enjoy the podcast or the YouTube channel. And also for listeners, I've got a new discount code for the merch store. Before we move on, another plug. Listen20, LISTEN 20 will give you 20% off your order. And that's only for podcast listeners. I don't advertise that anywhere. So if you want to get a new Chase the Summit hat or swag that we're not wearing or even repping right now.
When is there going to be some new merch coming out?
Good question. When you start helping me organize and design merch, that's
okay, I can do that.
We do need some new merch. We need some like summertime stuff.
Yeah, some like bright colors.
Yeah, springtime.
I can do that. Do your trail runners like neon?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm thinking like
I love neon.
Like the
stuff.
80s neon vibe. Do people like that?
I do. And I feel like, that's all we can cater to is the things that we like. So I want to give a quick toe update. I have that in my notes here to do a toe update.
We haven't heard enough about your toe.
My freaking toe. It's funny, at the 50K, I'll jump ahead to the 50K. There were like two people that I ran by. They were like, hey man, how's your toe? I was like, doing good. Thanks for asking. But it's funny that it became a topic of conversation. The toe's much better. I had my last x-ray, I think 2.5 weeks ago. It was like a week before that race. And I kind of got a partial thumbs up to start running again. So I won't spoil the whole 50K talk, but it's feeling much better. So that's good. And I do want to just kind of chime in on a few of the videos that have come up on the YouTube channel, because I feel like I haven't talked about those on the podcast for a while, but Jen and I actually made a really cool video. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I'll spoil the whole video. We went into Boston and we had the chance to get a DEXA scan and a VO2 max test at a real lab, which was super cool.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get that. So when you told me you were getting one, I weaseled my way into it because I really wanted one too. Because I always wanted to know what my actual percentage of like body fat. I thought it told you like how much muscle you had, but I guess it doesn't.
That was a little weird to learn all about how those things work. The video you've probably seen if you watch the channel was all about VO2 max, but we also got the DEXA scan. And if you don't know what that is, it's like this X-ray machine and an arm goes over you for like 5 minutes. And then it tells you your body fat percentage, your, was it water bone density,
Yeah,
water.
your bone density.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. And it's supposed to be super accurate as compared to
Tells you,
like
where you carrying your fat
yes.
over your body, which was very interesting to me.
Yeah, that was weird. It basically told me I was like borderline obese, which is good. Well, it had like a BMI scale, which is always like kind of baloney anyways. But
Yeah.
it was kind of fascinating because I thought, like you said, it gave you like a real, like how much muscle you have compared to your overall weight. But really, it only identified fat, right?
Like your body fat and your bone density, and then everything else was just called like tissue, I guess. Because I wanted it to tell me exactly how much muscle I had, but I guess it doesn't do that. But
how did you feel after that?
Not great, because the scale that we use was my body fat was 6% higher than what the scale's been telling me for years. So
that's weird because mine was about 6% higher too. But
really?
The scale always told me like 16% body fat. And then
mine's always like, between 19 and 20, and apparently I'm 25% body fat. So I was like, oh man, whatever.
I had pretty low expectations for the scale though, because it was like a $60 Amazon scale.
I never trusted those things. That's why I wanted DEXA scan, because I don't trust those things. You can explain the technology to me all you want, but I won't understand how you can just stand and it's somehow going to like radiate through your body. I don't even know how it works. And somehow it knows how much body fat you have. I don't understand.
It's like your resistance, because it's like you're standing on electrical contacts, and then it zaps you through. Well, here's my scientific. It zaps you. And then depending how much water you have in your body will determine like how quick it can zap you. And I think that's how they come up with the body fat. I still don't
understand it. And I don't believe it. I didn't believe it before, and I really don't believe it.
The same with those like handheld things, you know, you hold them out and it's supposed to like give you.
And those I think are supposed to be better than scales, right? I don't know.
I think it's the same kind of technology.
I don't trust
but it's probably more
accurate. I don't
accurate
trust either of them.
From your hands instead of standing on it. I don't know.
Anyways.
It was kind of fascinating. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out the video for that.
The video was really just the VO2 Max. Yeah,
the VO2 Max, but it was pretty, I thought that was, personally, Jenn was like more into the DEXA scan part of it. I was more into the VO2 Max part of it, because it's like a metric these watches always collected, and I was like, how accurate could that really be? So I found it kind of cool, but the DEXA scan was kind of fascinating too. Yeah. So let's jump right into the 50K. So Jenn and I ran a race a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Called the Trail Animal Running Club Spring Classic 50K. There was like multiple distances. So you could do a 6.5 mile or a 10K. You could do, it was 10K,
marathon,
half marathon, 50K. So the longest distance was 50K. And to get there, you had to do a 6 mile loop 5 times. It wasn't a loop. It was like this kind of complicated, like series of out and backs and stuff, like multiple loops that made up sort of like a shamrock shape. And so that would give you 50K. But it turned out not to be exactly a 50K, which we both learned the hard way near the end.
I literally Googled how long is a 50K in the middle of the race. Like I was like, I'm running a 50K and I'm Googling how, because at the end I was like, wait a second.
Tell me you hey Siri'd how long a 50K is.
I did.
Hey Siri.
I was like, how long is this race? Because towards the end I realized the math was not going to add
up.
Oh
man, my Siri just triggered because I said that. Oops. So it was a little bit longer than a 50K, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we actually ran this race with our new neighbor, which was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. She's my new running buddy.
Yeah, Jenn made a new neighborhood buddy because we're kind of new to this house and this neighborhood. We won't reveal her identity because she was very, when I turned on my camera, she was like, no way. She like ran away from us.
It was just coincidence that we moved here, and like within the first couple of weeks, there was like a crazy storm, and I was like, "There's a girl wearing a Boston Marathon jacket and running in the rain." And I was like, "I gotta make her my new best friend."
So we all started together, and then like I don't know, like 2 miles in, I felt
You immediately took off. And I was like, I'm going to stay with you. Like, I thought I was going to stay with you the whole time.
I felt bad, but
like, see ya.
back in my mind, I was like, she has her friend. So
I did. I ran with her most of the way, probably into the 20s.
yeah. For some reason that day, I just felt like
Which
leading
I'm
up.
glad you did. I would have felt bad if you held back from me. So much.
But leading up to that race, I was like, you're going to kill me. And I felt like I was pretty low in fitness because the freaking toe issue. But for whatever reason, that day I felt pretty fresh.
I'm not going to lie.
Good.
I thought you were like going to like go off like really hard. And I was like, I'll catch up to him later. But I didn't at all.
So that was like mile 2 or 3. I decided to kind of hit the gas a little bit. And then we didn't really see each other for the rest. I felt bad. I was like, let's run this race together. And then
it's fine.
And then I never saw you again, except for the end. But it went well. For me personally, I thought, nutrition wise was feeling pretty good. Nothing really hurt. I wore brand new shoes that day. I had Hoka Mafate 4s on, brand new out of the box.
I know. I was like wondering why you would put on brand new shoes for a long race.
I had run with, I think they're back there, the green ones. I had run with Mafate 4s before, but I bought new ones for this season, and it was fresh out of the box in the morning on my feet. A bold move, but they worked out. So that was good. Nothing hurt really. I had like a weird ankle thing, like, I don't know, maybe 20 miles in, but it didn't really turn into anything else. But then, 25-ish miles, I get a text from Jenn that says,
I'm dying.
Quote unquote, my ankle WTF. Or I'm limping, my ankle WTF. And I was like, oh no. Little background. Do you want to share the background with your ankle on your last long run? That
I've had like kind of like this bum ankle since the very first marathon I ran, where I was like, it was so bad, and I couldn't walk for a couple weeks really well, and I was limping, and I couldn't run for like 2 or 3 months after that, and I never went to the doctor. I never figured it out. And then after that, I was pregnant, and so there was a whole year of not running that much and recovering, and so it didn't really bother me for a year. And then I feel like this past year I got back into the longer miles again. It kind of started acting up again. Last fall we did the ultra, and I ended up walking in the last like 5 or 6 miles because it started killing me, and I was so nervous I was going to have a repeat of the marathon where I wasn't going to be able to run after that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this time same thing. It was mile like 22. It started killing, and I started walking a little, and I was limping, and it was like really bad, and I started crying.
So Jenn texted me like, I'm limping. I don't know if I should stop. She was on going to start her last loop. And I was like halfway through the loop when she was like, I don't know if I should stop. What do you think? And I was like, I was in a position where I was like, I don't know what to tell her. Like, I don't want to say stop and then have her be pissed about it, because you definitely would be pissed about it.
That was my driving. Like, I was like, I really should stop. I don't want to hurt myself anymore. But I just kept thinking I would be so mad. I made you sign up for that race. I made my neighbor sign up for that race. And if you guys completed it and I had to drive home and I had to stop, like, I would have been so mad. So
yeah.
I made it to mile 26, and I'm like, I'm just going back out. I'm going for it. And I had this weird thing where I started running again, and I realized if I ran on my toes, it didn't really hurt as bad. So I just ran the last 6 miles at like top speed to get it over with, like on my toes.
So that was the weird thing. So she's texting me like, I'm limping, I'm moving so slow, I might stop. And so I finished, I went around and I walked through the finish line. I filled up my bottles, and I was like, I'm going to go find her and help her and cheer her back in and like do whatever I can to get her to the finish line. And so I finished, I filled my water, I turned around, and I went back out in reverse, which was really hard to follow the course backwards because the arrows are not facing you. So eventually I found her, and she's running like full on sprinting. By the way, I have a whole video about this race. Go check it out on the main channel. It's like a vlog. But when I found her, she was running really fast.
I just wanted it over.
And I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like, you just told me you could barely walk. And then I found her, but she was moving, but then I was like, hey, I found you. How's it going? And she was like, shut up.
I literally
was like, don't talk.
Because I knew you were going to come around the corner and be like, how's your ankle? And I was just trying to take my mind off my ankle, just go to another place and just like go. And I was like, I can't talk about it.
Yeah. And then she was like, how far are we from the finish line? And that's when I didn't want to tell you because it turned out this race, instead of a 50K, it was more like 33 miles.
It was almost 33 miles. What? And 50K, I Googled, it was 31 point. I forget now. I forget.
It's the same as a 5K, just move the decimal point. So 31.3.
Yeah.
But yeah, this turned out to be like, my Apple Watch recorded 32.99, which drove me friggin' bananas.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I recorded 32.99. And it's because they had to change the course this year. Whatever, it's like a fun run. It's a $25 race. It's not like you're, getting a podium or anything.
I wasn't too mad about it, although I was a little mad because then when I realized I was going to come in like under 7 hours, I was like, oh, I can still come under 7. And then I thought I was going to, but because it was, I think I was like a few minutes after because I had to run like 2 extra miles. So I was like, ugh.
We both felt that disappointment because I finished in 6:12. And I remember on video, I recorded myself with the GoPro being like, if I kill myself and I finish this in the next 10 minutes, I was at mile 31. I was like, I can do the next mile in 10 minutes and I can be under 6 hours. I wanted like a 5:50 finish.
I had a feeling because the loops were 6.5 miles. And I was like, wait a second, this math is not quite adding up.
6.5 times 5 is not 31. Wait. I'm not going to do the math right now.
30, yeah, it's more than 31.
So we both had the disappointment of not making the sub-hour finish we were hoping for.
I was just happy I finished, and although I did regret it for a minute when I thought I did damage to my foot, but
yeah. So Jenn finishes. She walks through the finish line looking freaking strong. At the end, at the end, you were like, I couldn't even keep up with you. You were running like fast.
I was running fast because I just wanted it over.
And then you walk through the finish line, high five the race director, we hug, and then immediately you're like, all right, I can't walk. You're like, I can't even move right now. I can't. I had to go get the car for her and like drive up.
Walk to the car. I don't know. Like I don't know, something just adrenaline and going on my toes, and I just made it happen till the end. And then the second I started walking, I was like, I can't put any weight on my foot at all. I limped into the house. I literally crawled up the stairs. But I was also hurting really bad, like everywhere else. Just my lower body was so sore. I was kind of disappointed because I thought I was going to do pretty good at that race. And I didn't. I like 8 miles in, I felt like my lower body was already starting to hurt. And I was like, that's not good at all. Yeah. I also didn't train at all on trails at all. Yeah. I didn't step foot on a trail since last fall. You
were doing some pretty solid miles. Like she was doing 20-mile training runs on the road.
Yeah. So my last long run was like 20 miles and I felt good that day and I wasn't sore. And so I was like, all right, well, I can run 20 miles and so I'll be fine.
And this course wasn't like crazy technical or it was like pretty flat.
It was,
there were a couple of hills.
Flat, but it was so many routes and just like I wasn't running like a flat road. It was just so different for my body from what I'm used to because I don't even run on the sidewalks here because they're too bumpy.
I don't run on sidewalks, but I'll do a trail race.
So I don't know. I should have trained harder for a drill, but
it's all good.
It is.
You survived.
But I did survive, and I had like a minor scare where I went to urgent care the next day only because I couldn't put any weight on my foot whatsoever. And I just really went because I wanted a boot so I could walk. I was like, I can't even function. And they x-rayed my foot, and he told me that I broke a bone. And I was like, wow, I really should have stopped. I'm a total idiot. And
he said you had a bone fragment.
A bone fragment, yeah.
Jamming up the joint.
He said something about like the tendon wore off a piece of my bone or like a bone fragment. I don't know. So I was pretty upset about that. And I wore a boot for like a day. And then a day later, I was like, oh, I'm already feeling better. And then by the time like the end of the week came where I saw the orthopedic surgeon, I literally walked in there fine. I said, they told me I had a broken bone, but there's no way I have a broken bone. I'm walking fine. And he looked at the x-ray and more or less called the doctor an idiot and was like, yeah, you don't have a broken bone. I just had really bad tendinitis.
Sorry, urgent care doctor, but it turns out you're an idiot.
Sorry. I won't mention where I went, but he was like, wow. He did say I had like a calcification or something, like a spot. And he's like, I think he thought this was like a bone, but I was like, okay. Note to self, don't go. If you need an x-ray, probably skip the Circle Health.
Here's the thing. When you run a race like this as a couple and the other person is injured and you have 4 children, I'm not going to lie. I immediately thought, crap, I'm going to have to take care of the kids for like the next week.
I know.
When you were like hobbling to the car, I'm like, oh, she's not going to be able to carry the baby up the stairs.
I know. I'm so sorry because I like made us sign up for it.
But it was a minor thing. Like it turned out.
It's fine. I'm running again this week. And I have to go to physical therapy to learn some new stretches for like whatever, peroneal, whatever, tendonitis.
Perennial tendonitis.
Is it peroneal? I don't even know. But it's like the tendon that goes down the side and like across the foot.
Yeah.
I probably sound like an idiot to everyone listening who
No,
like knows what
no
I'm
one
talking
knows
about.
what
No,
foot
this is
bones.
pretty common actually. And actually,
it's the tendon. You know that nub on the outside of your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
If you reach down, it's the tendon that like wraps under
right,
that.
goes under
basically.
it and onto like your foot and underneath your foot, which makes sense. And I actually had like a really bad like red. It turned red. I thought it was bruising, but it was just bright red. And it was right along that line. It like almost like made the line of the tendon. So it made sense what he diagnosed me with. And turns out it's not that bad. I just need to stretch more. It's just an overuse injury. I was literally crying tears of like happiness though when he told me that because I knew I didn't have a broken bone at that point, but still just to hear him say that, I was like, so I can run.
So 2 weeks later, you're already back to running.
Yeah. So now I'm really happy that I finished. I pushed myself to finish.
It's good.
Although I still was a little disappointed. I thought I
Although
was
if you really jacked up your foot, you'd probably be, I mean, it could have happened.
Well, that's the thing you don't know. Like I stopped and I had a moment where I was like, all right, if I do damage and I can't run for 2 months, like obviously if I knew that ahead of time, I would not finish the race. But if I knew that I could finish the race and still be okay, when do you draw the line of like pushing yourself or knowing it's a bad injury or where's that line? Because obviously if you're running an ultra, everything's hurting and you can't just be like, I'm in pain, I have to stop.
Yeah. I think it depends on the race and like what goal it is. If it's like your A goal for the year, like for me, like Vermont is like my A goal. Mm-hmm. And at that race, if I start to feel something, I'm just going to keep going until my foot falls off.
Really?
Probably. Mm-hmm. Unless it's like.
Even knowing that you can potentially lose the rest of the summer and not be able to run because you injured yourself.
Well, that's the thing. Like how important is it to you? Like for that one, it's kind of my A goal, but I would hate to also, I don't know. That's tough.
Last year I wanted to run 1,000 miles in the year. And when we were doing the ultra, I just walked it in the wreck because I kept thinking, I don't want to hurt myself because I don't care about, like, I wanted to finish that race.
Yeah.
But my goal, like, I really wanted to run 1,000 miles, make it hit 1,000, which I did. So I guess, it depends on what your goals are, but it's just like hard to know where to push yourself and where to stop. I guess more experienced runners would probably recognize injuries.
I don't know.
I don't know. Your adrenaline's going so fast. A lot of times you don't feel that bad because your adrenaline's going, and then the second you stop, you're like, oh my God, I really hurt myself.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. Like I've run like 30 ultras and I still feel like I don't have any idea if it's bad I'm not a pro or anything, but like you'd think with that amount of miles, you'd be like, oh, that feels weird. I should stop. But I don't ever have that. The only time I know when to stop is like that day I was like peeing blood at Vermont. Then I was like, I should probably stop.
Real bad. I still I picture that you looking like that in my nightmares. You looked really
good.
bad that day. I can't even describe. You looked like you were like a cancer patient on hospice. When you came around the corner, you were just bones. I've never seen, and it wasn't like, oh, he's dehydrated or you did not look yourself.
Yeah.
I was like,
overall a bad day for me.
That was scary.
So
sidetracking too much.
It's okay. We're not sidetracking. That's the whole point of this podcast. So the race calendar coming up this season, do you have anything that you're signed up for?
I think I went to sign up for the Bay State Marathon in the fall, but I don't know if I ever signed up for it. I'm doing a half marathon in June, but I don't really have any.
Is that a self-supported thing or like a legit race?
The half marathon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Portland, Maine. So me and my friends, I told you about.
You told me about this?
It's on the calendar. I'm going to be away for the weekend.
Oh man. Yikes.
We got a house and we're doing that. And part of me wants to push and do, see if I can do it fast. But the other part of me doesn't want to feel sick, or like be destroyed because I just want to have a weekend with my friends.
Yeah.
But that's
well, half you should be fine.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can do, I don't know. Do I want to push my pace? I don't know. We'll see. My goals is to get faster though. So I'm starting now that my foot's starting to feel better. I want to start doing some track workouts and try and see if I can get faster because I want to start this year and I want to run like smarter, not longer because a lot of times I just add on miles and miles and miles and I'm not getting any better. So
I feel like we talk about this all the time because we're both the same way where we just like volume, but we never like do strategic workouts for getting faster or VO2 max improvements or anything. We just are, winging it.
So I'm going to try and do that. I joined a running club, although they meet in the afternoons, which I can never make, but I'm hoping I can like just at least surround myself with some more like experience, like actual runners. Like me and my friends are runners, but none of us are, run coaches or anything. Like I want to meet more people who can help me get a little bit faster.
Yeah. So for the calendar, for me, I've got a race next weekend, the Trail Animal Running Club, Waypack and Back, Wowpack and Back. I always say it wrong. That's a 50 miler with 12,000 feet of elevation gain, and I'm going to get my ass handed to me there.
Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah. Well, we could say whatever we want here. I just have to put the little E next to the...
Do you have to put an E now that you said ass?
I don't know. Now you said ass.
Now there's three. That's
asses.
3 times.
I don't know. I don't think anyone under the age of 30 listens to this podcast. If you do, let me know.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
Our 10-year-old does sometimes. And then after the Waypack and Back, Wowpack and Back, in June, I'm going to do a couple of mountain things, which I haven't planned out or put on the calendar yet.
I haven't seen those on our calendar yet.
I'll work on that.
It's not happening until it's on the Google Calendar.
And then in July is the Vermont 100, July 14th, the Vermont 100. And I've asked Jenn to pace me or be there, and we still haven't worked that out. So let me put you on the spot now.
We need some childcare.
Yeah, childcare for like a long time because it's 2 days basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might end up running that solo. TBD.
Oh, do you want like a crew?
No, but I feel like if you're going to be there to pace anyways.
If you have a pacer, are you not solo?
Right.
Oh.
You're still considered crewed if you have
a pacer.
Right. So for people who don't know, at Vermont, there's 2 categories for runners. You could be a solo or you can be crewed. And it's just as if what I said. So solo, you don't have any crew, you don't have a pacer, but you can still have your drop bags. And I did that last year and finished. But having a crew and pacers would be nice, I feel like, especially during the night hours. I don't know. I go back and forth because part of me likes being solo because of like my guilt. I don't know. I don't like people sitting around waiting for me. And that's pretty much all a crew and pacers do. It feels very selfish to have like a team of people waiting for you. But on the other hand, it's nice to have company in the middle of the night when you're alone and crying in the fetal position. So, and then after that, I've got nothing for August, September, and October. So I've been thinking about trying to get something else on the calendar there.
You're not going to do the mid-state?
Oh, I don't know. I think they still have registration open. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I need to seek out a new 100.
Yeah.
Can't keep doing the same ones over and over again.
Not a lot around here.
Well, there's some in like Pennsylvania, Virginia, like a car ride, a long car ride, but car ride. All right, moving right along into running news, tech news this week. Jenn's very excited about this.
Can't wait.
The first thing I want to talk about is FLODA soda. I mentioned this last night. So there's a company called, I got to Google it now. This is riveting stuff while I'm Googling. Oh, Satisfy. Yeah. So the company's name is Satisfy, who came up with this idea called FLODA, which is flat soda in a can, specifically designed for ultra runners.
Sounds disgusting.
Well, it's a common thing. People use it like right now at aid stations. They leave the caps off so it's flat, and because if you chug a cup of soda, if you're moving fast.
Why do you want soda for like
carbs,
sugar rush?
Yeah.
Like
it's a thing. It's like a lot of people are into it. Flat
that
soda.
Upset my stomach. I don't know.
Well, the bubbles do. That's why you want it flat. That it's like the same thing when you're a kid and your mom gives you flat ginger ale.
Yeah, when you're pregnant, they give you the gestational diabetes test and they give you this giant thing of like orange soda, except it's got no carbonation and you have to guzzle it. They time you. You have to drink the whole thing in like 2 minutes. And usually if you're pregnant, you're already nauseous. And it's the most disgusting thing. Last time I did it, I had to do every pregnancy. My last pregnancy, they made me lie down because if you throw up, you have to start over. Ugh. And I was like, it's coming. I'm going to throw up.
So that's the original FLODA.
So that is what when you say FLODA flat soda, like I'm just picturing being in the doctor's office and trying to chug the flat orange soda and have someone be like, don't throw it up. You got to start over.
So this FLODA soda made its debut this month at a race called the Cocodona 250 out in is that Arizona, California? I should know that. So the Cocodona 250-mile race.
I love that word, Cocodona.
Cocodona, yeah, it's a great name. And so they had it at some of the aid stations there, and I'm interested to hear firsthand experience about FLODA, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I need to get some samples. If you're listening, FLODA, send some samples my way so I can do a review on the channel.
I want you to like run and then, you know what? You should talk about the video.
What video?
You know what I'm talking about. You don't want me to say it because then you're going to be held accountable to do it.
Well, because you can't reveal the video idea before it's out.
Anyway, I won't reveal it, but I was going with you should do like run around a couple miles and then chug a FLODA soda and then run some more and then chug the beer
soda?
Races, except do it with FLODA soda.
Maybe do a baseline where you chug a carbonated soda and then the FLODA and see how they compare. I don't know. I might throw up. I don't know. Next topic is Suunto coaching and training tools. Jen will not care about this because she's a Garmin user, but Suunto actually recently announced a new coaching and training platform for their app, which is actually super cool. There's a new training zone that breaks down your training load and also gives you a perspective of the impact of your training. Kind of similar to Garmin's like training status and things like that, but it's a little bit different. There's also a progress score that gives you an idea of how you're progressing, and I think it's kind of cool. So if you're a Suunto user, make sure to update your app, update the firmware on your watch because you'll get some new tools. Do you use the Garmin training tools at all?
No, I want to. I tried once and I set it up, but it wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't like structured for me. Like it just thought it was like a couch to 5K where it was like day 1 and training. And then it said like run 1 mile. And I was like about to run a 10 miles. And I was like, no, Garmin.
You're talking about Garmin Coach.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
No, I'm talking about like training load and, the thing that's like overreaching.
Oh, I don't have that on my watch.
Oh, yeah, because you're wearing the
to.
SQ2 now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get you a new like Phoenix or something.
Yeah, so with the old one, I had it would tell me like, if I was being productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that.
Did you actually like that though?
I mean, I liked it, but I didn't really do too much with it. Like if it was telling me I was overtraining, like I was still going for a run the next day. Like I didn't really listen to it. Yeah. But it was interesting, so I didn't need it. I guess I probably should have been listening to it. I feel like I might, I don't know, if I could get one now, like maybe I would actually use it. Well,
are you hinting at something? Mother's Day is around the corner.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If your watch told you follow it, or do you just like look at it and go, oh, that's interesting, but then still do what you were going to do anyway?
Yeah, I guess I don't really follow it because if it says like I'm overreaching, but I feel good that day, I'm still going to go for a run. Like I'm not going to let that stop me.
Yeah. Is it like accurate enough to be able to like really, like if it says you're being overproductive, are you actually being overproductive?
It's probably right.
Okay.
Like it probably is, but
because sometimes I found like I'd have some really good runs and my watch would say like 0, like you're not you're not benefiting from this run, and then I would have some really like crappy runs, and it would give me like a great score, and I never I was like, okay, do I listen to the watch or listen to my body?
Listen to your body. By the way, can you hear our dog snoring right now?
They couldn't last time. Sorry.
I just heard him.
Tried to strategically place him so he could be in the background.
Yeah, we got to get like a little bed back here maybe and put him, we'll just plant him in the background. Okay, next topic is the new COROS update. For those unaware, COROS has completely revamped their entire app and ecosystem and just made it a little bit better. I have a whole video about this on the main channel, and this actually went live today. That's good timing. May 5th is when it's going to roll out to the masses. Beta users have had this for a couple of weeks, like myself, but for everybody else, you'll be getting it this week. So keep an eye out for a update to your app very soon. Another weird thing COROS did is they reduced the price of some of their watches. They knocked $50 off the Apex 2, the Apex 2 Pro, and the Apex 2 Pro Kilian Jornet edition. So now the Apex 2 is $350, the Apex 2 Pro is $450, and the Apex 2 Pro Kilian is $500, which is kind of interesting because I've never seen that done before from any watch manufacturer. Like Garmin would never in a million years be like, the new price is $50 less. You know what I mean?
Oh, like it's not like a sale?
No,
just like
they adjusted they decided it was a little bit high. And for people who already bought it, you can get a credit. They'll give you $50 back, but only towards their website to buy other stuff, unfortunately. But still, you can apply for a credit for a refund or a credit towards their website to get like a watch band or something, which is kind of nice. And the final topic I have for the news this week is Oura Ring has partnered with Best Buy and is now in 850 Best Buy stores. And I thought this was kind of interesting because Jenn brought up the Oura Ring the other day because your hairdresser
my
or something.
Hairdresser was like, what's the golden watch all the celebrities are wearing?
The ring.
Is it gold? Do they have a gold version?
They do have
so
a
it
gold.
Must be that. Because I was like, you mean like a fitness watch? And I was like, I don't know. Is it the Oura Ring? She's like, I don't know, but I'm getting one. Like she didn't know what it was. So I asked you because I was like, that's the only ring like that's popular, right?
Yeah, and I think they're going to get a ton of visibility from this because they were kind of small potatoes before, just being online only. And
according to my hairdresser, the celebrities are wearing the golden ones now. So
I bet they're probably sending. I bet Oura is strategically like, hey, Leonardo DiCaprio, here's a
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I don't know, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
I don't think he's managing his fitness very well.
Justin Timberlake, here you go.
A different podcast.
But I thought that was pretty cool. So they're in 850 stores in America now. And I think it's a big step for them.
Maybe I want a golden Oura ring.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool product. You can try one. I got one. Although it's way too big for you. That's the tricky part with these rings is.
Yeah, they're like real big.
Well, no, you got to get them sized right for your hand.
Just in general, like even if they're sized, like for someone like women with like dainty hands, they want a huge.
Well, they're not that big. Like that's one right there.
You're wearing one right now.
Yeah, but that's
actually,
that one's different. That's the ultra human.
Yeah, it's really not that bulky.
That's the ultra human ring.
The ultra.
Yeah, which is it's a different company, but they're very similar to Oura Ring. I've been testing this one out for like a week.
It's a little big, but I'd wear it. Cool.
For a mere $300 plus $6 a month.
How much is the Oura Ring?
Same price, $300 for an Oura Ring. Actually, if you get the gold version, it's a little bit more because they like plate it differently or whatever.
So well, I want the gold one.
But it's a big deal for them. You know, they're everywhere now, and I think it'll be more accessible for people because before you had to go to the website, get the sizing kit. They ship you the sizing kit.
Oh, you can size yourself at the store.
Yeah, now you go to Best Buy, you size it there.
Oh, yeah, that's much better.
And then you can buy it right there. So it's not like this huge process of having to go and, all these different steps. And that's kind of it for the news this week. Kind of rambled through that quickly, but it's all stuff that's been out there for a while. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, though, there is a ton of stuff coming in like the fitness tech world over the next couple of months that I can't talk about here, but yeah.
What is it?
Oh, it's over there. Jenn can see it, but no one else can. But there's a lot. So stay tuned to the podcast and the main channel for all of the goodness coming. So the next segment we'll work our way into is Q&A. This is just general Q&A. I didn't specify whether or not Jenn would be on, so feel free to chime in as I go through this. And like I said, I got these like 2 weeks ago, so I kind of forget all of them.
They're like outdated. They're like, we found the answer by now.
Yeah,
thanks.
they could be outdated by now, but we'll see. And like I said in all of my podcasts, if you want to be part of the podcast and be featured in the Q&A part, follow me on Instagram at Chase the Summit, because I throw up one of those, stories with the little question box, and you can write in and I read them on the air live, and it's kind of fun. So make sure to follow me over there. Okay, first question. I've got a 100K mountain race. Looking at the Hoka Mafate Speed 4 or the Speed Goat 5. Greetings from Poland. And that's from Jazzy, or I can't pronounce the name. Thanks for the question. Fun fact, I actually got a pair of Speed Goat 5s for my 10-year-old yesterday.
Yeah,
Super
where are my
exciting.
Speed Goat 5s?
Hoka, we need some Speed Goats for my
He
wife.
also has a wife who runs a lot more than the 10-year-old.
But yes, to answer your question, I personally really like the Mafate Speed 4s. That's the shoe I was wearing at that race last week. And I'm probably going to wear it for all of my upcoming races, including the 100-miler. I'm a big fan of it. The Speed Goat is super popular for good reason. People love it. And my 10-year-old loves his now. So I don't think you can go wrong. And it's really kind of personal preference. The Speed Goat's a little bit more technical, a little bit more aggressive. The Mafate Speed 4 is a little bit lighter. I feel like I run faster in the Mafates, but that's my take. Cause of asks, what's your approach to strength training during prep for 100 milers?
What is your approach? Why don't you tell everybody?
Do nothing. No. I used to take it more seriously. I barely do any strength training now.
You should. It will help your running. I've been trying to tell you this.
I know it will. It's just like time.
I know you choose running over everything, and when there's only a certain amount of time, you just want to run.
Yeah.
I understand that.
But I should do more of that. I also want to get on the bike more. I feel like that is beneficial. Even though you told me the other day you were miserable when you got on the bike.
I hate the bike so much. I thought when my foot was hurt, I was like, all right, I'm going to bike this week. And I just wanted to die the whole time. And not because I was like my heart rate wasn't even going above 110, but I just hated every second of it.
Yeah.
But maybe I just have to get used to it. I don't know. I felt like my butt hurt, my back hurt. I was like just uncomfortable.
It's definitely like one of those things you get better at with time.
Yeah.
But you also have to like dedicate time to it.
Maybe I should get like a real bike.
We have a brand new bike down there.
No,
Oh, you mean like a road
like
bike?
an outside bike. And maybe we should put the kids in like one of those tents. Why don't we do that? We're like active people, and I feel like we would be the family to like.
Well, the kids are too big for that already. Like Oakley could go in there, but the others are too big.
I want to be like that family that has like, the dad, the mom, and there's like a line of everyone's just biking.
You want to be like the
the bike
the
path.
stick figure family on the back of the minivan?
I want the stick figure on the back of my minivan.
Oh, man. Next question.
Quickly move on now. People know that I only run.
Do you have any good tips for finding training plans for a first ultra? I can give you a tip that if you're a COROS user, they've actually got some really good free training plans now that you can download. And even if you're not a COROS user, you can just get them right off their website for 50K. I think they have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You should have told me that.
I've been following one from Killian. That's Killian's training plan, the Killian COROS training plan. And they are free, so you can check them out. You can also like alter them. If you're a COROS user, you can go into the app and like change. If you don't want to do 50 miles that week, you can, modify them to suit your needs. If you're not a COROS user, I would say just Google it. There's a lot of them out there, and then, adjust it as you see fit. But personally, if you're just getting into ultras, like your first ultra, I think volume training up to that 50K per week, 30, 40 miles a week, and training on terrain that's going to be similar to your goal race is pretty important.
Yes.
Important
Don't train on the road 100% and then sign up for Trail Ultra.
You can do it, but
I mean, you can.
You might jack up your ankle. You never know.
It was not pretty. Not even my ankle. My whole lower body just hurt. And it was frustrating to me because I had a lot of fuel left in the tank still. Like I had energy, but my lower body was crashing because my muscles just were not used to that.
Yeah, that's strange though. I don't know why that is, because that trail...
I also think I was like dehydrated or something. Like, I don't know if I fueled correctly.
Well, you did tell me. I said at the end, I said, what have you been drinking for electrolytes? And you said, nothing.
I said water.
Like, well, it's the wrong answer.
Well, I had like a pre-run drink on the way there and like patted myself on the back for drinking that. And then I just drank the water because that electrolyte mix that I like, we didn't have anymore. And I didn't get around to ordering it. And I don't know. I thought I'd stick to water, but... Yeah, I don't know if that made a difference. It must have made a difference with how bad my muscles hurt.
I think
and my hands were very swollen too, which I Googled the other day. That could be electrolyte imbalance.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Like I had
water retention.
I had like Shrek hands at the end of that race.
Especially if you're taking in a ton of water and you don't have electrolytes, the water's not moving. It's just like retaining, you're retaining it. So
interesting.
Yeah, if you notice your like wedding ring gets tight and your watch feels tighter and
everything. That. My hands were
balloons. Noted for next time.
Learning experience.
So that I hope that answered your question, Zach54 White. Hopefully that's helpful.
That's his name.
Yeah.
Zach54 White.
Yep. The Wandering Social Worker asks, how frustrating do you find Garmin's locking feature? I think I wrote this down wrong. How frustrated do you find the Garmin locking feature? Sorry. I mispronounced that. How frustrating do you find it that Garmin locks out certain features like training readiness on certain devices? I mean, I think everyone feels the same way. We just talked about this, like on this podcast, how Jenn is wearing the Garmin Venue SQ2 right now. And because of that, she doesn't have training load and training status when clearly it's just a software feature. And that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But like my argument to that is always, you can buy a laptop without Windows, and you can buy a laptop with Windows, or you can buy it with Microsoft Word or without, and the price might change a little bit depending on those. Yeah, but
you can add on to your laptop, buy the extras, where Garmin you can't.
Right. But
buy
I guess
the things you want. You can't like build your own watch.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to start moving away from that because no one else is doing that really, like COROS and Suunto and Polar. Like they put all the same features for the most part on all of their watches. They just change like the battery life and build quality.
Why is that?
Stuff.
Why is it not like tiered, like for this much you get this much battery life, for this much you get this much battery life and maps, and this much you get that? And why isn't it like the party packages where they're like, you get this, and then the next one's like, you get everything below plus this. You get everything below. Why is it for battery life? Because they can't put too many things. I don't know.
They've always said that it's about licensing those features because, like, for instance, the training status widget is a first beat feature. I can hear Conan snoring so loud right now.
It's fine. Don't worry about that.
It's a First Beat feature, and First Beat was a company that Garmin acquired, and they used to like license that per device. And so they would actually pay money to put that feature on one of the watches. And so because of that, they would charge the end user for that feature, if that makes sense. Which is kind of like what I'm saying with like Microsoft Word. If Hewlett Packard decided to put that on a computer and sell it as a package, they might bump up the price by $20 to cover, that.
But why, feature. If you're paying more, shouldn't you get everything the person paying less has?
That's the confusing part. That's the confusing part because Garmin acquired First Beat, so they kind of own that company now. So they don't really need to license things anymore. So I don't know why. I think it's just, kind of a marketing thing to say, if you want all the features, you need to buy a Phoenix. And if you're a wellness person, you buy a Venue.
It's confusing.
I know.
Maybe not confusing to you. But
No, it's super confusing for me.
A normie like me.
No, it's super confusing. But it's a reason why the YouTube channel is successful.
That's true.
Because it's like everybody wants that,
Because if you go, you're like, I'm a first time, like I'm going to buy my first fitness watch, and you go on Garmin.com, you're like, I don't understand any of it.
Yeah.
And I use a Garmin. I still have to ask you. I still have to turn around and be like, what?
Well, the crazy,
Wait, what?
like I live in this world of like obsessing over this stuff, and it's confusing for me even. I'm like, wait, why does the Venue 2 Plus have, ECG, and then the Venue 2 doesn't, and the Venue 2 Plus has a speaker and microphone to take phone calls on a Garmin, but no other Garmin out there, even the $1,000 Phoenix 7 doesn't have that feature. Why? And the feeling I get from like my interactions with Garmin and the people that work there is that they're very siloed. Like the people who design the Phoenix watches are not even talking to the people that work on the Venue 2 watch.
Interesting.
And so I just wonder if that's why it gets kind of segmented, but I don't really know the answer to that. So hopefully that's helpful, wandering social worker. Yes, I'm frustrated by it, just like you. Kyle MM asks, how's your toe? I already answered that, so we'll move right past that. Interest VMF asks, how much more battery does the new solar feature on Garmin really provide? It really depends on the model. The Garmin Instinct 2X that came out recently, I've got a full review about this on the main channel, has really impressive solar performance. And stay tuned to the main channel because Jenn caught me the other day out in the front yard with 10 solar watches taking a video of them, because I'm actually doing a bunch of testing on solar performance, because on the 2X, Garmin claimed 40% better solar efficiency compared to the other Instinct models. And I wanted to see if that was true firsthand. Spoiler, it doesn't seem to be 40% better, but there are a lot of variables. So stay tuned for the full.
Very into that test. Screaming at everyone that walked by that could cause a shadow.
Yeah.
You're like, shadow!
Yeah.
Shadow, get out of the way!
Yep. My 6-year-old and 10-year-old were playing right next to the pile of watches that I had collecting
Playing
sunlight.
in the yard, and you're like, shadow!
I'm like, kids, get away from those. Get away from the watches. Yeah. Jen thought I was gardening. She looked out the window and
I was like, oh, you're doing yard work? And then I'm like, there's watches all over
I
the
had
place.
watches all over the ground. So yeah, I'd say on the Instincts, it definitely makes a difference. There's a noticeable difference. On the Phoenix models, it's like a little bit of a gimmick. I won't say that, but a little bit of a gimmick on the Phoenix models. But on the Instinct models, there's definitely a noticeable impact. Feel the need. Here, you can jump in on this one, Jen. Personal favorite gels. You don't use gels, do you?
I think that's my problem.
Yeah, you should
The only
use gels.
I've ever used is literally the ones my friends hand me.
Yeah, and you're
They're
probably.
like, here, try this. I don't know.
I think you'll have a challenge with those because you're sensitive to texture
don't
and flavor,
know.
and they're super concentrated. It's like putting honey directly in your mouth.
Yeah, I can usually get about like halfway through the pack, and then I end up shoving it because I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I started eating like the Cliff Blocks, which I was like, oh, these are great, but then I don't think that's really like. I think it's just sugar. I think it's literally just candy. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, that's probably why these aren't helping that much.
No, those are actually good. I don't think they have any electrolytes, but they have a bunch of carbs in them, and
Yeah, and I liked the flavor. I have to chew something. Like I don't know.
Gel-
And I can eat. I can run and eat at the same time, but I don't like putting goo in my mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I have done it, but it's not my favorite.
That dog snoring is so loud. We should put a mic on him.
Tried to wait. He's awake now and he's still snoring.
Still snoring with his eyes open. Will the Butt. That's the guy's name. Will the Butt. BUTT. What is the best HRV tracking app to use with the Polar H10? If you have an Apple.
Wait, did you answer the gel question?
Oh, no, I didn't. Let's jump back. Sorry.
Well, because I want to know.
Yeah, feel the need. My favorite
I know
gels.
the neighbor always says, is it Martin's?
Oh, yeah.
She's
yeah.
always
Those
saying,
are great.
Martins, get the Martins.
They're really
Okay,
good,
okay.
but they're expensive.
Okay.
They're like $3 a goo or something. I use Goo Roctane, which is super basic. Like you can buy them at Walmart. You can buy them at REI. But I like Goo Roctane, Lemon Lime, I think it is. Do I have any around here? I think, basically with me, anything like citrus, lemony kind of flavor goes down for a while and I don't get sick of it. But Goo Roctane, and then also Unived. They've got a couple of good ones. But theirs are really tricky because they're very watery. And when you drink them, they like
Did you, you're like ripping it open in your
they're
face?
they're like super watery, but no, when you rip them open, like I'm used to with like a typical gel, like you have to squeeze them out, like it's almost like grape jam. You know what I mean? Like you have to like really force it out. Where this stuff is like it's watery, so it's like it's like all over the place. It's like all over your shirt.
Maybe they just need new like packaging or something.
And then some of them are even like they have like a Boston cream pie or something flavor. Yeah, it's a little heavy, but it's also
Boston cream gel. Did you just make that up?
No, I did. Well, maybe I did.
Boston cream donut.
Boston cream gel.
Oh my God, I'm gonna Google that.
You know what? The next
that can't be
the
real.
next podcast we should get a bunch of different gels and just taste test.
Okay.
And I think that would be good. But yeah, the worst part about that is it comes out brown. So like if you miss, it's like whoa, it's like brown. It's a bad day after that.
I don't think this guy's getting that gel anymore.
But my favorite, it's probably the Guru Octane. I like those, and I'm a simple man.
You want brown, watery stuff all over your face in the middle of a run, then you can get that one.
Oh, and Untapped, they're from Vermont or Maine. They make maple syrup flavored gels that are actually pretty good.
I don't know.
They're pretty good. It's not like straight out maple syrup. They're like mixed with stuff. It's pretty good.
Can I dip like the Stinger waffle into it?
Oh yeah, Stroop waffle. Yeah,
pour the syrup gel on the Stinger and just like have breakfast while you're running.
Now you're talking. Yeah. All right. Next question is from Jason. Oh no, Will the Butt. I never answered his question. Best HRV tracking app to use with the Polar H10 heart rate strap. I guess I would go with the Elite HRV app on your iPhone. I don't know if it works with the Polar H10. Other than that, the Polar Beat app that's free comes with your Polar H10. It's a good one to use. Hopefully that's helpful. Jason Cuddy says, do you think augmented reality glasses will change how we train in the future? What do you think, Jen?
What does that even mean?
AR glasses, like an Oculus, like you wear them. Do you think?
Are you going to like go on a trail with them?
Maybe they'll design a treadmill and you wear this thing and you're like in the Boston Marathon and you're like visualizing everything there.
I mean, you have like the huge screens with iFit. You can run in the Boston Marathon. I guess you could put the goggles on.
But this would be like real.
That'd be actually cool.
Like wind blowing at you and you get the goggles and the sounds. And when you turn your head, you're seeing everything around you.
It sounds a little dangerous. But it also sounds like something I would want to try.
It sounds like something that would be friggin' hilarious to watch from the outside world. Like somebody running on a treadmill with a headset on.
Oh, that actually sounds really cool.
To answer your question, I don't know.
Yes, we do think.
Yes, we do think that'll change our lives forever. Torbjorn HB, Patreon member, shout out. Ever considered traveling abroad for a race? I would consider it for UTMB if I could get into it. Except I'd need Jen to buy off on that, take care of the kids for a week by herself.
That sounds fun.
I would love to travel abroad, but time and I don't know. I haven't put too much thought into it, but I would love to see UTMB or one of those races in the Alps or mountains. That would be super cool. Hankster Rods asks, I'm a Garmin fan all day and have the Phoenix 6. Should I upgrade to the Phoenix 7? If you're happy with the Phoenix 6, I would say don't fix what ain't broke.
What's on the Phoenix 7 that's not on the Phoenix 6?
You get longer battery life. If you get the Phoenix 7X, you get a flashlight built into the watch.
Oh, yeah, we just talked about that.
I love it.
I would use that too. I use my phone flashlight every morning to get my clothes out or like put my socks on so I don't wake you up because I get up really early. I would use that.
I got to say, when the flashlights came out on the watches, I was like, this is the dumbest thing.
I remember you said that. Why do we even need this? And you use it all the time.
I use it every day. On this Instinct 2X, I got it right there. And getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or something. It's funny because they only put it on like the super outdoorsy, crazy watches when 99% of the time.
I just want it for my bedroom.
Yeah, you use it for like stupid tasks, like you drop your keys in the car and you need to find like that's useful there. It's really, I've never used it out on a trail for any reason, but there is a feature where you can turn on a strobe when you're running. It'll flash when you.
Does that kill the battery?
A little bit, but not crazy. And it's synced up with your cadence. So as you run, when you swing forward, it turns white. And when you swing back, it turns red for the people behind you. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, so upgrade from Phoenix 6 to Phoenix 7, you get a bigger display, you get more efficient solar, you get longer battery life, you get some new features like the training calendar, training readiness, and of course, the flashlight on the bigger model. I don't know. It's a lot of money.
Wait until your battery starts crapping out on the Phoenix 6.
Yeah, it's good advice.
And then there's your excuse.
Yeah. I would sit down and ask yourself, like, what doesn't your Phoenix 6 do that you need it to do? Because it's easy to get gear acquisition syndrome. You ever hear that?
Nope.
Yeah, gas.
Okay.
It's easy to get gas about new stuff, new shiny things you see on the internet. And, it may not be as big of an upgrade as you had hoped. But, they're still updating the Phoenix 6 with firmware updates. So now it has HRV status, which is super cool. But they're not going to roll down all the other features. Next question is from James Phoenix. Cool last name. What's the technical?
That's his real last name.
Maybe. It's his Instagram handle. I don't know if that's a last name. What's the technical difference between using the trail run versus hike versus run activity on my watch? Good question. So on Garmin watches, in particular, if you use the road run activity, it'll affect your estimated VO2 max. If you use the trail run activity or hike, it will not. And that's on certain models. Unless you have a 400 965, 255, 265, 255.
How do you know all this?
Phoenix 7, Epix Gen 2. Those will all calculate VO2 max based on trail running, not on hiking. Basically, if you have a watch that doesn't work like that and you go for a trail run using the run activity, it'll negatively affect your estimated VO2 max since it's not accounting for the variation terrain, like technical footing and stuff like that. Your heart rate will be higher than it's expected and getting more elevation gain and things like that. So that's really it. Other than that, it's like they have like pre-canned activity data pages. So on the trail running activity, you'll see elevation data, where on road running you will not. And then the difference between trail running and hiking, I think, is purely just empirical, like just the data pages. So hopefully that's helpful. I would say try to use the activity that you're actually doing, unless you have a watch like the COROS Pace 2, which doesn't actually have a trail run activity, which is super annoying. They should fix that. But try to use trail running for trail running and running for road running.
Can you just go in your app and change it?
No, not on the COROS Pace 2. You can't add, I don't know, because it's a $200 watch, and they're like, how do we, this is, I think.
How do we make their lives miserable so they want to buy a $600 watch?
I think the design team sat around, they're like, we made this too good for $200. What can we do to like make people want to spend $400? Because the Pace 2 is really good. Okay, Luke Scott Peck. What are your essential items that you take on every trail run? I'll let you start with this. Every run that you head out the door with, what's your packing list look like?
My longer runs, I just have like some
gummy bears,
candy, the Cliff. I'm the wrong person to ask.
No.
Just like the Cliff blocks and water. And I usually do one water and one electrolyte. But like I said, my electrolyte ran out a long time ago, so I need to replace that. And you know what? My friends always have started like 2020 when there was like no bathrooms to be seen. I always pack wet wipes.
Nice.
or tissues or something.
You're forgetting your little mace thing.
Pepper spray. Yeah. And my phone, and I pack mace. And I have a little alarm also.
Oh yeah, a little personal alarm.
But you packed really good for that race the other day, because I went in your bag several times of things that I didn't. I put Body Glide on my bra spots where I usually chafe and didn't think I needed it. And then halfway through, I was like texting you, do you have body glide? Because I felt like I was chafing again already. So I went into your bag and I was thankful you had that. And then at the end, I tried to find Motrin. I couldn't find it in your bag, but you said, and you know what? You had so many different pills in your bags that I was like, what?
Don't worry about that.
Not like prescription pills, but just like a little bag that I knew were probably salt tabs and I wanted to take one. But then I was like, were they?
Well, no, there was, I had Tums.
I knew. Okay, I recognize, but they weren't. They were in little baggies. So I'm like, do I want? I could see Tums. I could see salt tabs, which I thought were salt tabs, and I was like, I really want to take out. By the time I text you, by the time you confirm, should I? And then I'm like, I don't know. What if it's like, I don't even know,
it could be like a
800
heavy
milligram Motrin or something, like a muscle relax. I don't know. Not that you have.
Be like, wow, I feel great.
Yeah, I don't know. So I didn't, but you had like the Motrin, and I was like, wow, he really knows how to bag for this, which I clearly did not.
Well, I brought a community drop bag for that race. For me, my essentials are pretty simple. Earbuds. I'll have the Beat Fit Pro or the AirPod Pro 2s. My phone, I always have with me because it doubles as my camera and an emergency way to call people. And my GoPro, obviously, for vain reasons to make YouTube videos. But yeah, like if we're talking race environment packing, it's way more complicated. Like Jen said, I have a drop bag that I bring to just about every race where I can access it. It's not always possible, but I like to have body glide, salt tabs, Tums, Band-Aids, tape. Duct tape is critical to have. Sometimes I'll put that in my vest even for a race, because if you have duct tape, specifically Gorilla Tape, because it doesn't leave a nasty residue behind, you can put that on a callus or a blister.
Wow.
It's way better than a Band-Aid because Band-Aids will like bunch up and fall off after a while. That Gorilla Tape helps quite a bit. It sucks to take off, but it helps in a pinch. And I feel like I'm forgetting a lot of things, but those are kind of my essentials. But for like a 10, 15 mile trail run, I'm pretty simple. Phone, earbuds, water, and my watch.
When do you bring water? How many miles?
Depends on the temperature outside. I used to run do you remember I used to go on 20-mile runs without water?
Oh.
And then I'd come home and be like, I feel like crap.
That's probably why you got that rhabdo.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I can't do that. I feel like that Vermont in 2019 changed me forever. I just get dehydrated so quick now. Last question from Giz. I'll spell it for you. GIJSTRBSCH.
I feel like one of our kids from the back seat, they always go, what is BJ? And they just say random letters, and I go, that spells nothing. That's what I feel like just happens.
That's pretty much what this name is.
Sorry.
What does a normal training week look like in your day-to-day life? You go first.
Oh, well, I just run when I can. I try.
You've got more structure than that. Like you do weight training and you do your workouts.
Weight training 2 to 3 times a week, and I run just casual runs a couple times a week, and then I do a long run on Saturday. And I'm starting to now. I'm going to try and incorporate some speed work into my weekly program, but that's nice. Just me. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I need help. I'm trying to seek out people that are going to give me more structure, at least for my runs. I know what I'm doing for weights. Yeah. I feel like I experienced there and I can program myself for that, but I'm just, even for someone who's run so long, I'm still such a noob to run training that I need help.
Me too.
And you do too. Not to blow your cover.
No, I have no cover. Full transparency. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Goes out when he can and runs as many miles as he can.
Yeah.
That's your...
And it's funny because I think the best fitness I've had recently was in 2019. I was fast. I was when I raced, I was top 10 in a lot of those races.
You weren't doing anything structured except you were just running all the time,
but
right?
a crap load of trails.
You were on the trails
barely any roads. It was every day, 8 to 10 miles on a hard trail. And that paid off. And I think that was just it was built-in training, like, it was the hills and climbing and everything.
That makes you so fast on the roads.
Oh, totally. It was totally different than, like trying to mainly train on the roads and then sprinkling in trail runs. So I got to get back to that. I was also doing a lot of hiking back then. I would go up to the mountains and not even run, just do like a straight up hike. And I think that was huge benefit for endurance.
Yeah, the elevation is everything.
Yeah. So we got to both work on our structure. Jen takes the morning shift. She's mentioned it. She wakes up at like crazy hour, 4:30 a.m.
I'm so tired.
And then, she gets ready while I get the kids out the door, get them dressed and feed them breakfast. And then now that I have a little bit of freedom with my quote unquote job, I try to get my run in during the day or in the evening. But really, we just do as much as we can. The weather has sucked lately, which has made it kind of challenging. But next week looks better. So hopefully
I'll
get
go
back on the
out
ball.
in the rain. I feel like you'll go on the treadmill if it's rain.
Yeah, it's weird because I've raced in the rain and it doesn't bother me in that kind of environment, but I just have a hard time accepting that I have the choice to go.
It was raining this morning, and usually I just do like easy 5K on Fridays. And if I knew it was raining, I probably would have tried to bail or gone on the travel or done something else. But the Apple weather, I woke up, 0 rain, no rain. I literally pulled out of the garage and I'm like,
Apple.
It's raining out. Are you kidding? I pulled up and met my friends. Were like, why is it raining? I wasn't. I didn't have my hat. I didn't have any of my rain stuff. It was kind of miserable. But it was the same. I mean, I was fine. We were fine.
Yeah.
The hardest part is getting out there and doing it.
Yeah, it's weird because I've ran a 50K and a 50 miler in a pretty crappy, like 40, below 40 in the rain, and I was fine. So I guess training runs, I'm like, I have the choice. I'm just going to go on the treadmill.
Yeah, I would pick outside over the treadmill any day of the week.
Yeah.
Even
although I'm kind of more of a warm weather runner than.
Yeah, you're weird. He'll go out like 90 degrees, 4 o'clock in the afternoon and go for a long run. I'm like, how? I
don't know.
I can't do that. I got to go early before the sun comes up.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
That's where we differ. All right. That's the end of our Q&A and kind of the end of the podcast.
Yeah, we got to get our kids off the bus in 5 minutes.
Bus comes in 5 minutes, everybody. Thanks for joining us in this episode 52. We're going to get back on the ball with the podcast. I'm going to start keeping this going. I do have an in-person guest coming at the end of the month. I won't spoil who it is, but that's pretty exciting. And I've got some thoughts for some additional guests coming up soon. Another shout out to the YouTube members and Patreon members. And I didn't mention at the beginning, but if you haven't yet, go over to the Chase the Summit Trail Talk podcast YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button over there because that helps that channel grow. We're up to 300 subscribers on the podcast channel. So it'd be cool to get that above the 1,000 mark at some point. And over there, you can actually see us instead of just hear us. So that's pretty exciting. Right.
I'm excited for you to have some guests.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I just have to get.
People. You have a really cool studio, and nobody's been in here.
You've been here.
Me. That's it.
And one final shout out to the merch store. Listen 20, LISTEN 20 will get you 20% off your order at the merch store. So go get your trucker hat, and I'll ship it out ASAP.
And you're gonna get new merch, right?
Yeah, we're working on new merch.
Why don't you tell Dave what do you like?
I was thinking about like arm sleeves would be kind of cool, like UV protected arm sleeves.
Yeah, I could do arm sleeves. I have a real problem where my core gets warm, but my limbs are cold. And I was just saying the other day, I really need to get some arm sleeves.
And they're good for warm weather because you can wet them and they keep your arms cool. Or if it's sunny out,
I like it.
It's like sunblock. It blocks the sun.
It has to be real good quality.
Yeah.
So you need to ask people what they like, kind of.
I'd have to get like
looking for
a real brand and not like some crappy drop ship
we need
service.
And I don't know. Maybe you should do a new hat.
New hat. Wow, you're dropping a lot of bombs here on the podcast. We'll talk off the air.
All right.
All right, everybody.
I have so many ideas.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.